Hey guys, all right, let's do a quick little forecast for this week. So I'm going to call this week Managing Expectations. It feels like a week where we've got a combination of some people feeling a bit more experimental, feeling the juice from Jupiter and Neptune kind of egging them on, so to speak, and encouraging them and helping them to feel a sense of possibility. And we also have some other people who are receiving other aspects from other planets that are a bit like they're busy feeling the burden of a lot of work that they feel like they need to get done. Maybe the team that they're working on, etc., etc. There's a disparate. It's kind of like everybody's having very different experiences right now, and sort of makes sense when we have the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. These are cardinal archetypes, and so it does feel like right now the big central question a lot of people are asking is about their life. Is this the life that I'm really wanting to lead? Like just this sort of seminal question. This week might feel a little bit like we've got a third. Basically, it's our third quarter with the moon. So, it will be after the full moon, which is happening right now tonight. Leading into that third quarter, when the moon forms its exact square, it'll be like in Scorpio. And so that week of the month, the lunar calendar, the lunar month, can kind of feel like complacency can be an issue, is how I feel. So that was the other sort of theme I thought for this week. Be careful about being complacent. If there are things you're needing to review from earlier in the month, some goals you set for yourself, it's a good week to work on that. Maybe in particular around like Wednesday and Thursday when the moon's in Virgo, even in Leo, moon in Leo, the beginning of the week's helpful too for your personal projects and personal goals. I just think those Virgo days might be a little bit more productive. We go through the signs here really quickly. I'm just going to kind of very quickly give you a little keyword by sign. Aries suns and even Aries moons, to a certain extent, we have a stalemate. So it's kind of this rebellious energy for Aries. Of the four cardinal signs, they are the ones that, because Uranus has retrograded back into Aries again and finishing up there, and Uranus has spent the last 7 years on top of our Arians. So it's kind of like reminding them to maintain their autonomy, but also it's like this with the trine they're getting from Jupiter and Sagittarius, this belief that but my life is special, or I am different from other people, or I'm different from the rules, or the rules don't apply to me. Those sorts of things are that's kind of the stuff that Aries have been working with. And at the same time, if you're in Aries and you're waiting for some kind of communication or some message or something this week before you can continue, there may still be a quality of being sort of in a little bit of a stalemate this week where you're waiting. So just not quite the right time yet. With Tauruses, I feel like mix-ups. You have mix-ups this week, especially like sort of anything that has to do with work. If you've had some new expenses related to possessions that you own, like maintenance on things, it might be tied sort of to that. If with work there's a scheduling mix-up, or you think you're supposed to be to work a day that's different from the day you show up, or just be aware of those sorts of things this week. And if you can figure out ways with your finances, if you don't already have your finances automated, it's a great sort of week to kind of figure out how to make your finances more simple, where they just do themselves. Okay. When we look at Gemini's, I'm sort of saying studious or like paperwork, homework work week rather. Feels like you have lots of ideas, and it also feels like you're going to have invitations to things this week, or a lot of activity with coworkers or with friends, invitations to meetings or to parties or to Skype calls or to whatever, just like phone calls and distractions basically. But it feels like you have some things that are important this week that you need to really nail down and get finished. So try to carve out some time where you can really kind of focus. Cancers have been experiencing basically, we've had Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn opposite Cancer. So you guys have had that opposition to your sun. So it's been it's been a little bit heavier, and wintertime for Cancers tends to be that way anyhow. Having us this week soon, of course, Mercury this week will move into Aquarius, and so it's going to sort of at least move out of the 7th. So at least that's one planet out of that house where we're sort of thinking or mulling over relationships, or we are I don't know, if you have a relationship with someone, if it seems like they have been at a standstill, or they have been seriously considering something, or just been preoccupied or busy with work, as Mercury moves into Aquarius, you may feel a certain sense of hopefulness for some shifts and some changes in your personal world. So it feels like a hopeful week for you guys. Leos, this is one where you may have some sort of you might find something out this week that has to do with kind of either whether it's your gossip, might be related to someone else at work who maybe is a competitor, like a rival who wants your spot, or someone who, or even in your personal world, if you're with someone and you're worried about a rival, partner, it feels a little bit like information coming that has to do with your, relationships with people, and it being something you might kind of overreact to. So just, be aware of that, and do your best to wait before responding or saying something, or messaging, sending off that email. Maybe just give it a second to sit with it, because having the moon, we've got the moon, this full moon, and it's an eclipse. So this Leo moon its light is being blocked by the Earth. It just feels like a bit of a frustrating moon for Leos, and also at the same time, Uranus is, forming an out of sign, but is forming a square to the moon tonight. So it just feels frustrating and emotionally volatile, and a time as well where we just need to just take care of yourself during this week, your health and that sort of thing. And I have actually a few Leo friends who've had like colds, and I have one Leo friend who lost her voice, and just little things this week. So just if your emotional stress or work stress is getting to you, just make sure you take care of yourself. All right, Virgos. This feels like a very quick moving week for you guys. A lot of work to get done. You might not be able to get it all done though, and things kind of getting put on your desk or thrown at you, or you realizing you have to take care of all this paperwork or go get something registered before you can do this, and it just feels like a work week, sort of a busy week. And on a deeper level though, I think it might be distracting from personal stuff that has to do with what in your personal world, when you take on an obligation and you say, yeah, I'll do that for sure. And when you take on more than you can take on, because if there's times if you're feeling guilty, and then if you're feeling stressed out, like you're taking care of everybody else but not yourself, and then feeling resentful, you may have some stuff this week where you have to really look at where should you take responsibility, like where are areas where you can cut back. And if you're feeling resentful at all this week, or feeling any of those sort of, what's the thing you're in denial about, like in your relationships with people, and doing your best to try and see both sides of the story as well, seeing things from both people's perspective. It's tricky because you do have both Jupiter and Neptune forming hard angles, to Virgo. Neptune's opposite Virgo right now, and Jupiter's squaring. And so at the end of the day, these two planets are here to help Virgo uncover the truth and get to the bottom of the real, like the spiritual truth even. So I think it's a good week for meditation if you don't already do that. Really great week for prayer. I think it's probably always a good thing. And getting grounded and centered, and knowing it's okay if you don't get everything done, basically. Okay, for our Libras, you guys, it feels like it's a work week for you too. This feels like you're fleshing out a plan. If you've had something that sort of started as a spark of an idea, feels like this will be the week where you can really start, if you haven't already sort of laid everything out, it just feels like if you've laid out a plan, it's like you'll be filling in all the blanks this week, So a good, creative, productive week, and one where you'll, I'm sure, be just sort of in that work mode. Feels like what you'll be kind of married to this week, so to speak. For Scorpios, there could be some work miscommunications or some worries about your reputation, or worries about someone, your reputation, that somebody sort of putting on blast or giving you a hard time, like publicly. That's a possibility. It could be something also as well. You might have some some things that that are keeping you sort of preoccupied, or like in your personal life that you might be feeling a little bit sad about, that maybe it's time to let go of, or maybe you were too naive, and maybe you're seeing something that you just might have a little hurty heart this week to a certain extent, is what it feels. But at the same time, it also feels like light at the end of the tunnel, like things for you guys are shifting right now. All the Scorpios have had you guys have had a tough couple of years. Sagittarians, this to me feels like dreaming the impossible dream. Of course, you've got Venus and Jupiter together, in Sag, and you have that square to Neptune. So it's these two spiritual planets, Jupiter and Neptune, that are all about belief and meaning and thinking about possibility and being optimistic about possibility and hoping for the future and all of that, all the good stuff. It's like your dreams as well, maybe feeling like your dreams can come true and that sort of thing. The problem is we're not getting any helpful really aspects from anything that's kind of Saturnian. Sages and Aries of all of the zodiac of everybody right now are getting energy that is they're receiving sort of the Jupiter energy in a really, it's just like a fire hose. Okay, so even if you have like a moon in Sagittarius or a moon in Aries, you may be feeling it there. But that Jupiter, the problem with our Jupiter, of course, is it's like a pure Sag Jupiter. So we want to go out in the world and we want to inspire people. We want to make a difference. We want to do something that has meaning, or with Venus conjunct Jupiter, we can get a little bit complacent or even a little lazy or a little thinking things are going to be a lot easier than they really are. Remember, Sagittarians, one big weakness is they can be very naive. They can want to believe something that they've never experienced before, but they'll act as though they have. Like remember, you don't have wisdom in an area until you've lived it. So there's an element, of risk taking, of course, that we all have to. There's a point in time when you have to take a risk and take a gamble and go after something, but just to be prepared as well for the learning process, for the, you not knowing what's going to happen. And don't, especially this last week, like the Jupiter-Venus conjunction, if you had someone come into your world, especially of the romantic nature or a new friendship or, something that's got to do with a social interaction, that's making you feel like really excited and hopeful about where you're headed, that's wonderful. Especially, Venus has been squaring Neptune, but it is a classic placement for disillusionment, and where there's a story that might not be a lot of projection is happening, basically. Okay, so be really careful about anybody new that you're starting to see. And when you're really, getting to know someone, a lot of times romance a lot of it has to do with projection. So just be real careful in that area. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Big, big, big word of advice. Capricorns, you guys, this one to me feels like accidentally on purpose, like a week where all of the cardinal signs, except for Aries, are very much focused on work. Very much focused on, is my life right now where I'm wanting it to be? How do I get to where I'm wanting to go? There's a competitive quality right now for a lot of the cardinal signs. Aries too, but Aries are more rebellious right now. With Uranus and with the ruler we've had the ruler in Aries. It's just like he and she, they're just blindly going where they're going to go. And to hell with what happens. We'll figure that out once we get there. They're very much blazing a trail right now, which can be awesome. And we need trailblazers for sure. Sometimes you gotta just do it and just jump in. But yeah, there's going to be stuff this summer that has to be cleaned up. So anyway, then when we talk about Capricorn, though, to me this feels like you guys have a chance this week. There might be some distractions with someone else, maybe a work colleague, or you had lunch date planned and it got canceled, or something with a coming together with another person and it changed all of a sudden, or you suddenly had the opportunity to have lunch date with someone, or unexpected kind of communications that have to do with coming together with other people. But in particular, it feels like it aligns with what you're doing for work or your career or your path or your purpose, but it frees you up. It's like if you have a no-show or a cancel this week, it'll free you up to do a little bit of creative work, a little brainstorming, a little bit of playing around with, I've been thinking things should be this way. You might get a little creative download, so to speak. You may have a little inspiration on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where you're kind of feeling like, maybe I should do it, this other way. Or you might listen to a podcast and hear a technique, or have a chance to overhear something on the radio. I don't know. It's new information coming to you. But I feel like, because we've got this Aquarius energy right now, Sun's in Aquarius, Mercury, anything that comes from you, it's going to be more, you'll trust it more. So take time to do some brainstorming if possible. Aquarians, you guys have a pretty great week for creative flow. The beginning of the week might start a little slower, or you need to make sure, and this is so funny because I've got a good Aquarius friend. She's like, I really need just like to have a little space. That's my space where I work, where it's quiet. I can just almost like you're in a little vacuum and you just don't have any distractions at all, right? That's very much what needs to happen for Aquarians this week, because by Thursday, I feel like Thursday's got some awesome mojo. You got Mercury moves into Aquarius, so it'll move into your guys' natural first house. So if you've been needing to get busy with a project that requires creative inspiration and like flashes of ideas, and when the manic comes out, I feel like that's going to be Thursday, Friday. So maybe if there's other mundane details you need to get taken care of before then, try to do that earlier in the week, I guess. You do have a nice Virgo moon this week, which is in conjunct you guys, but I like Virgo for Aquarians because it has this they share that desire to fix things. They want to fix things, Aquarius many times wants to fix things out in the world, and Virgo just wants to fix things in general. So it might be a good time to kind of plan, maybe do a little structuring if you're writing, like doing an outline, that sort of thing. But just go with it. Go with the general vibe this week. It feels very magic to me this week. Because you're Aquarius, there's a very good chance that during those Virgo days, you guys have this crazy flame of inspiration because you guys just do things differently from everybody else. So, right? Just be prepared is all I'm saying. With a space, with your tools, have all your tools, all your supplies. I have the book that I'm going to write in. I have my computer. I have my everything ready and charged. I have a location. Plan it all now so that when the inspiration comes, even just have a notepad with you in the car this week. Be prepared in the shower, whatever, to write your ideas down, okay? All right, Pisces, your week kind of feels a little bit like a little missing paperwork, little maybe work headaches to a certain extent. I feel like it's because Pisces are experiencing big changes right now. You got Neptune moving through Pisces. You've got Jupiter and Sagittarius squaring you guys. So just like Virgos, this to me feels like you're asking big existential questions right now. Is my life a value? What does that have meaning? What am I doing with my life? And also many times Jupiter square the sun does bring opportunities, but a lot of times it's opportunities to learn about yourself, the things about yourself where you're like, oh man, I kind of did that in the past and I need to work on this. And we might sort of you may be feeling unprepared this week, or sort of feeling like you're just like a gerbil, hamster, in the little treadmill, that kind of thing. That's okay. It's going to get better. I think because looking at, for example, our Chiron, which gets to the end of Pisces, at that 29th degree of Pisces, I feel like that's a significant, and this is I think more next week that we will be experiencing this. Let me just double check so I'm not misspeaking here. Let's double check. Yeah, I'm looking at Friday here. So yeah, it's next week. So when Chiron gets to that last degree of Pisces, right before moving into Aries, that's reflecting or echoing an upcoming foreshadowing, I guess, the upcoming Mercury retrograde, which retrogrades at 29 of Pisces in the tropical chart. So this to me feels like that last degree of the zodiac, significant. The end, this is ending of one big huge cycle and the beginning of a new something. So I think the Pisces and Virgos, you guys are, I believe, feeling, and Geminis too, are really feeling the endings of a lot of things right now, but it feels almost like it's more inside of yourself, like patterns that you've been living by and maybe even not always totally aware of might be showing themselves to you. Hopefully this makes sense. It feels like it's a very personal and introspective year for a lot of our Pisces and our Virgos, and especially when it comes to where in your life are you feeling like you're not living your truth? So where are you saying yes to things that you really don't want to say yes to? Where are you doing things that aren't meaningful? I believe all of us can live lives that are full of meaning, whether it's through your job or through just meditation and connection to source and to truth really is an important year, I think, for our Virgos and Pisces to tap into their spiritual roots, whatever those are. If you're religious, if you are spiritual, you like to pray and meditate. If you're not, even if you're an atheist, what about, reading about mythology and understanding meaning, studying philosophy, studying, there's plenty of sources of sort of ontological rootedness that you can dig your heels into that don't have to do with like religion or God or et cetera, et cetera. Even I suppose like cosmology and just studying science gives us context. And that's the type of thing I feel like our our Virgos and our Pisces are really sort of needing right now. And especially because, I'll hold off. I was going to say something else, but I'll hold off on, I had another thought, but I'll share that with you guys a different time. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. So just remember, this week is kind of like it's not a super exciting week, but in managing expectations, as I said, some people are going to be really, it just feels like we've got a lot of different colors happening this week, and they're telling totally different stories, okay? So some people are really stoked this week and some that are really not. And so for you, I feel like, I was going to back up. I think the overall message this week that is really important, because of this kind of shifting, feels just mutable, feels like a foggy day where you can't see the horizon, it's like, I know it's over there, but I can't see it, is getting grounded in yourself and meditation. And when I talked about the full moon forecast, figuring yourself out, your story, without it needing to be validated by someone or by proof outside of yourself, like what's true for you. And yeah, I think that's the big theme right now, but also like deeper than that. I feel like meaning, purpose, spirituality, the questions that have to do with why are we here, where are we going, those are the big ones. So, all right, guys, hope you have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.